Let's bring Larry Kudlow now, host of Kudlow on Fox Business every day, 4 p.m. on Fox Business. Although you're going to be watching Your World today, 4 o'clock, because I'm anchoring for my friend Neil.
Oh, no.
No, Larry, it's always great to have you here. But if only the audience could have heard the running commentary coming from you while Aisha was delivering that report. What's your big beef? What's the problem?
Look, you could start with the IRS, okay? The IRS is the biggest winner in this ridiculous, pathetic Schumer-Manchin bill, which is the worst bill I've ever seen. This is a bill that will not cut inflation, will not promote growth, will not lower deficits, will not lower debt, and will not, by the way, reduce the global warming temperatures either.
Says
None of the above.
Lomborg in the Wall Street Journal.
That is correct. He did the models. He used the UN model. This is a bill where the biggest winners are these huge bureaucracies, what I call the deep state. The EPA is a big winner. They get refunded to go after fossil fuels. The IRS is a big winner. They get refunded and double the agents to go after small businesses, Uber drivers, waitresses, pretty much everybody you can imagine, because nobody understands
the very
the tax
people that
code.
the administration says they're out to help them.
Well, of course. I mean, here's the thing. Nobody understands the tax code. It's not that people cheat. Americans don't cheat. Now, the radical left-wing Democrats think Americans cheat, okay? You can't get wealthy without cheating. That's it. They hate capitalism. They're socialists. Okay. The reality is nobody understands the tax code because it's so complex. Okay. Line up 10 accountants, tax accountants, and they'll all give you different interpretations of key provisions. That's the problem. And by the way, this Manchin-Schumer bill heaps on more tax credits, refundable tax credits, carve-outs, deductions. Again, no one will understand
Sounds
this
easy. Like anybody can handle that. Real quickly.
You're seeing the same thing. I'm going to go here.
You go.
You're seeing the same thing, the deep state and the Justice Department and the FBI. What they've done with Trump and this raid on Mar-a-Lago is an absolute outrage. It is politically inspired, in my judgment. There is no reason they just couldn't have had a continuation of the discussions with the National Archives, which have been going on for quite some time. Maybe a subpoena. Trump wasn't even there. That's a point that Dershowitz made. It's a fabulous point. They just want to stop him from running for president, because if he does run for president, and he's already laying out terrific speeches, which is giving the Republican Party a platform for the midterms and for 24 to restore his economic policies that succeeded, his border policies that succeeded, his crime policies that succeeded, and his foreign policies. Biden's have undone, reversed everything Trump did with disastrous consequences. So now they are trying to undo Trump, stop him from running. The IRS, the EPA, the healthcare
let me take that point, because
all of a piece.
Similarly, Senator Lindsey Graham just weighed in on all of this a few moments ago. We played out some of it top of the hour, but we just cut some of what he said specifically on the IRS. To your point, here's Graham a few minutes ago.
I couldn't believe it when I read it. They're talking about expanding the IRS 2.5 times. Enough new IRS agents to fill up Williams-Brice Stadium and Death Valley. So when you go to the football game this fall, just imagine everybody to your left and right being IRS agent. Look at how it changes the department. 78,000 current employees. We're going to add 87,000 new ones in the next 10 years. Wonder what they will be up to. If you think the federal government is out of control now, God help us when you get 87,000 new IRS agents who are looking under every rock and stone to get money out of your pocket. This is bigger than the British Army. So my belief is that we probably need a bigger British Army and a smaller IRS.
God help us, says Lindsey Graham on this IRS expansion, saying I couldn't believe it when I read it.
Well, Lindsey's on a roll. He's got this completely right. By the way, they will go after conservative groups. Remember Lois Lerner years back with Obama? They will go after conservative groups because the union that runs the IRS gives, what is it, 95, 97% of its money to Democratic candidates. And they will all enroll in that union. So let's not forget that. It has a terrible left-wing bias. This is what Newt Gingrich calls big government socialism. It's an expansion of big government socialism through the regulatory state. And look at, just as a matter of common sense, we have a big inflation problem and we have a big recession threat. This bill, coming back to the bill, does nothing to solve the inflation problem because it's spending $700–800 billion.
Have you crunched the numbers? Will it bring down inflation at all?
I don't see why or how. I mean, we're going to have an inflation problem for quite some time, probably several years. We're going to spend more. Look, if you add the CHIPS Plus bill, which was close to $300 billion, plus this bill, which is close to $700 billion, that's $1 trillion in federal spending. Now, look, I thought there was a consensus in Washington that overspending caused the inflation or contributed heavily to the inflation.
Senator Manchin was in that camp.
All right. Now, all of a sudden, we've forgotten about that, and we passed two big spending bills, a big tax bill, and this bureaucratic, regulatory, socialist state bill that has the EPA and the IRS and the health care controls and all of it. There's no, Sandra, there's no free market entrepreneurship or capitalism left. You should be in a situation, Congress should want to promote economic growth in a recession.
Amen.
And they don't have a single particle that will do so.
But that's not the way they see this. Your buddy, and I say that in jest because I don't know if you two get along, but Paul Krugman in the New York Times, he's asking this question: did Democrats just save civilization, Larry? This act isn't by itself enough to avert climate disaster, he says, but it's a huge step in the right direction and sets the stage for more action in the years ahead. It will catalyze progress in green technology. Its economic benefits will make passing additional legislation easier. It gives the U.S. the credibility it needs to lead a global effort to limit greenhouse gas emissions. You know, he's asking the question rather than saying it in the headline, because guess what? He was the guy who had to confess how wrong he got inflation.
Yes, he was. But look, there has to be some science in here someplace. So Bjorn Lomborg, who's an established climate scientist, went back, looked at these numbers, went back and used the UN model predicting global change, global warming, and said there will be no impact whatsoever. None. Zero. And all these subsidies and tax credits and government checks and picking winners and losers to various forms of the environmental community. Solyndra to the 100th power. Remember Solyndra? It all went bankrupt.
Amazing.
They're yelling at me after
your piece, if you want more, his piece is on foxbusiness.com. There is not one good thing in this bill, says Larry Kudlow. Thanks for joining us, Larry.
My pleasure.
All right, we'll see you at 4 o'clock. Thank you very much. Mike.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.